Chapter 6. He found himself near the signboard that said, "Keep away from the far place. Dangerous." His breathing was badly distorted. When he turned his head back, he found that he had swum away with all his power. "To realize my dream to fly in the sky, I have to exchange my life," he murmured. His body was trembling. He wondered if he was a wimp after all. He remembered that he wanted to make his dream come true, to fulfill the promise he had made to Yuri. And despite his dream, he found himself unable to give his life. ZYUN felt pained and thought hard. He suspected that, again, Yuri would see someone such as him as having no courage. He worried that if he didn't realize his dream and keep the promise, Yuri would hate him. His mind was full of conflicting thoughts, which made his head heavy. He bent it forward as he swam home unsteadily. Chapter 7. Several days passed. ZYUN and Yuri were taking another walk in the lake. Since the day ZYUN had talked about his dream and made his promise, Yuri had begun to ask him to take walks. When ZYUN was with Yuri, he felt that time flew. He said to himself, "Stop time." He had so much fun, was happy, and talked about anything, except for that cave.
"When will we go to the sky? If I fly in the sky, how happy I will be,"
said Yuri, who sometimes talked about flying in the sky. Every time ZYUN heard such talk, he thought about the cave and felt pained when he remembered his escape from that place. "It's okay. I will not fail to keep the promise," he told Yuri, because he couldn't help but say that. He had made a promise that meant Yuri would still be with him in the future. If that future disappeared, Yuri would leave him. For that reason, he always replied, "I will keep my promise." Chapter 8. A few more days passed. ZYUN couldn't return to the cave yet. He was ashamed that he could not raise his courage, but frightened by the thought that he would have to exchange his dream for his life. However, he believed that he had to realize his dream, as he had promised his dear and lovely Yuri that he would. One day, one fish came to the lake from another lake. His name was Artel. No fish in the lake were the same color as this fish, as had been the case with ZYUN. Artel was black. Moreover, he was as black as a night sky with no stars. Artel came up to ZYUN and said to him, "I will make the red fish Yuri my sweetheart, and take her to the West Lake where I live." Chapter 9. Whenever ZYUN was with Yuri, Artel challenged him to different kinds of matches. "I propose a match," he would say. "Which of us can swim faster to the rock over there, you or me?" Of course, ZYUN always accepted these challenges. When ZYUN accepted the rock challenge, his eyes were sharp and serious, and he swam to the rock using all his physical strength, and swam with all his heart. On the other hand, Artel swam straight there, laughing as if he had merely slipped through the water. ZYUN was out of breath. "Hey, you! Can't you swim any faster than that?" Artel taunted, laughing loudly. ZYUN dropped his head and threw a glance at Yuri, who had watched the whole race unfold. The next day, they tied rocks to rope and competed to see which one of them could pull a bigger rock. Artel pulled a bigger rock than ZYUN did. "Can't you pull any more weight than that?" Artel asked, laughing loudly again. The following day, they again competed, seeing how high out of the water they could jump. Artel swam to the surface as if he was a violent wind and then jumped high. A spray of water that shone with reflected sunlight wrapped around him, making his black scales stand out even more. Yuri seemed fascinated by Artel's feat. ZYUN, who couldn't jump as high as Artel, felt sick around his chest and nervous in his stomach. Then he turned his eyes away from Yuri. "White, you don't think that you can protect Yuri with such weakness, do you?" asked Artel. ZYUN couldn't say anything. Yuri gazed at Artel intently. Chapter 10. Several days passed again. Once, as ZYUN swam alone, he saw Artel and Yuri swimming together. ZYUN turned his eyes away from them and tried to leave without being seen by them. But then he stopped and hurried toward them. "Yuri, why?" Though gloominess showed in Yuri's face for a moment, she forced a smile and looked at ZYUN.
"Well, ZYUN, Artel is very special. He is the son of the king in the West Lake."
ZYUN glared at Yuri with his mouth closed. Just then, he saw something bright on her body. He looked at the bright object carefully.
Artel gave me this. It is beautiful, isn't it? I've never seen such a bright jewel before.
Say, in the Westlake there are many stones as bright as this, Artel said, his voice low and dignified. White, I will give this food to you. Try it. Artel put out a ball of food that looked like a dumpling.
It is very delicious. It is so delicious that it makes me feel happiness. ZYUN, try to eat it,
Yuri said. ZYUN looked at the food, but he opened his eyes wide and stared unblinkingly, not at Artel, but Yuri. No thank you. As soon as ZYUN threw away these words, he swam powerfully away. Chapter 11. When ZYUN imagined that Artel and Yuri were together, he felt his chest harden and felt pain in his stomach. His heart filled up with misty smoke. He didn't have fun, no matter what he did. Moreover, he even felt as though he were suffering. Many days had passed like that. At dawn one morning, when ZYUN was dozing, he heard someone's voice. It was Yuri's voice. It seemed to him that he hadn't heard it for a long time. He became pleased and looked in the direction of the voice.
ZYUN?
It was surely Yuri. Yuri! Right away, ZYUN's heart became as light as a fine sky, but the delight was wiped out in an instant when he saw Artel next to Yuri. White, I came here to say goodbye. ZYUN glared at Artel and looked Yuri in the face without speaking.
Listen, ZYUN. Leaving without greeting you was too sad, so I came here to say goodbye.
ZYUN felt a rush of embarrassment and didn't understand what she had said at first. However, he felt as if a big arrow had pierced his heart. Yuri, what do you mean?
I decided to go to the Westlake with Artel.
Oh no! Why? ZYUN shouted. It may have been the first time he had used such a loud voice in front of Yuri. Why? Why would you go to a place like the Westlake? The answer is easy. It is natural that Yuri should go to the Westlake, since it is better than here, and Yuri should be able to live better there, Artel said, offering his opinion and continuing to say, I am a son of the king in the Westlake. I will be a king in the future. In addition, the lake has many delicious foods, and innumerable beautiful bright pebbles. Yuri can be happy all her life if she lives with me. That's why, White, Yuri has decided to go there. Artel laughed loudly. ZYUN looked down.
I'm sorry, ZYUN. Take care,
Yuri said. ZYUN kept looking down. There was silence for a while.
Okay, ZYUN. I must go. Goodbye,
Yuri said again. ZYUN refused to raise his face. Yuri and Artel began to swim away. The two fish swam on and on. When they were about to disappear from ZYUN's view, he chased after them with all his power.